by fans of high quality entertainment. So, as some of you know, I'm going to be ranking the Electric Light Orchestra albums on Phil Aston's channel, Now Spinny Magazine. We're going to get together this Tuesday. I'm not sure when he's going to post the video, but please subscribe to his channel. And it's an excellent channel. He does a lot of unboxings for vinyl records and CDs, and very knowledgeable, just like me. But anyway, I have been listening to a lot of Electric Light Orchestra for the past few weeks, all of these albums, because I take rankings seriously. And it is going to be kind of difficult to rank these. I keep changing my mind, even my favorite album, or least favorite. So stay tuned for that. And, while I'm listening to all of this great music, I'm thinking, Jeff Lynne, he's a genius. He's a musical genius. And so I thought, just for fun, as always, don't take this too seriously. Everybody's got their own opinions on music. You can disagree, but disagree nicely. I've gathered together 40 artists, mainly in rock music, or, on the border of rock music, a little bit of jazz. And let me know, out of all of the 40 shown, maybe list 5 or 10 that you would possibly consider a musical genius. And I'm not saying all of these are musical geniuses, but, I've been doing a little research, and some of these names would come up more often than not. That's it. So here we go. And these aren't in any order or anything, just a list of names: David Bowie, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Lou Reed, Paul Simon, Prince, Kate Bush, Brian Wilson, Pete Townsend, Stevie Wonder, David Byrne, Roy Wood, Jimmy Page, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Kurt Cobain, John Fogerty, George Harrison, Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, Barry Gibb, Roger Waters, Brian Eno, Carole King, Jeff Lynne, Freddie Mercury, James Brown, Lady Gaga, Chuck Berry, Ringo Starr, Tom Petty, Tony Iommi, Frank Zappa, Brian Jones, Little Richard, Miles Davis, Bob Dylan, thank you, Sly Stone, Captain Beefheart, and Robert Fripp. And so there are all the names there together. And, maybe some of you will say there's no such thing as a musical genius. But I think, just like in any art form, there are geniuses. Back in the day when I used to do a lot more comedy videos, once in a while somebody would say, I'm a comedy genius. But I haven't had that go to my head. Comedy genius. I'm not a comedy genius. I'm just a genius. So, yeah, looking over this list, if you were to choose 5 to 10, with a limit of 10, which 10 would you consider at least possibly being musical geniuses? And that doesn't mean, they're an expert on a certain instrument. It could mean anything, production skills, songwriting skills, anything, related to the music. So for me, David Bowie for sure, because his career was pretty consistent overall. Some albums were, better than others, I guess, but I don't really think he put out any really bad albums, and right up to the end, he was putting out great music. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Lou Reed. I know that Glenn Kellaway won't choose Lou Reed. Yeah, so right away, I'm going to go with Jeff Lynne to start. And I read, it was interesting on a website. I was reading somebody, looking up about musical geniuses, and somebody said that Jeff Lynne is a combination, and you might disagree, but is a combination of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Martin, because he's a great producer too. And, he's great with melodies like Paul McCartney, and he also has, his vocals are kind of reminiscent sometimes of John Lennon and just his songwriting. So Jeff Lynne for sure. Bob Dylan for, lyrics for sure. Frank Zappa, just, I would consider him a musical genius for sure. And Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, that's 4. And then, of course, got to have John and Paul from a band called the Beatles. Prince, just a amazing, guitarist. He did it all, right? So I can only choose 3 more. Oh boy, why did I settle on just 10? Jimi Hendrix, for sure. I think not that I'm a big fan, but Kate Bush was is an amazing artist. And one more. It's kind of like you're choosing your favorites too, right? But I'm gonna go. I know a lot of people would choose Stevie Wonder for sure. Pete Townsend of the Who. Oh boy, Barry Gibb. All the great songs he wrote for the Bee Gees. Carole King, great songwriter. Here's Chuck Berry, and I see Little Richard come up so much as, an influence on like the Beatles and all these other artists. I kind of think he was, I don't know about you, the king of rock and roll for inspiring so many musicians. Jimmy Page, Roy Wood. I am so impressed with Roy Wood just from, the couple of albums he was on for ELO. I can only choose one more? That's not fair. I'm going to go with, I got to go with, there's Lou Reed too. And I never chose David Bowie. Boy, oh boy. But I'm going to go with Paul Simon. Just one of the greatest songwriters ever. So that's my list. Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan, Frank Zappa, Brian Wilson, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Prince, Jimi Hendrix, Kate Bush, Paul Simon. And that's not to say that, like Paul McCartney, sometimes he put out music that wasn't great. But overall, looking at the whole career of these artists. So, like I said, this is just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. And let me know on or who maybe isn't on this list. You can include those, but just have a limit of 5 to 10 artists, and mainly in rock music. Or I know that Miles Davis is more jazz, but he was jazz rock. And that is it. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like the video, leave a comment below, and make sure you're subscribed. Bye. Oh, and subscribe to Now Spinning Magazine. Thank you.